Welcome to Wisdom Wednesdays. Last week was part one of a way to do more of what you love, just through a simple exercise. And I did this exercise pre-COVID, but it's super helpful for during COVID because we have to find new ways to keep ourselves happy. So as an example, before doing this exercise for the first time, I thought I was all about traveling, just had to travel. I got to travel to a lot of North American cities through work. I would tack on extra days for a worldwide conference. I would travel with my husband and my family. But my appetite for travel was growing exponentially year after year, and it was getting to be just too much to satisfy my thirst for it. I needed way more time and way more money. So how was I going to do travel in a way also without my husband? This was starting to raise a concern with me, because when you start to learn so much and have so much fun and you're not sharing it with your significant other, I think that can be a bit dangerous. So what to do? Well, that's when I did this technique, and I realized that it was really my need for adventure that was really at the core for my desire for travel. And travel was just one way of me satisfying that need for adventure. So with what that meant is now I could uncover all sorts of ways that were going to make me satisfied. Now, the key here at this step is to actually dimensionalize your theme into a few characteristics. So that's what I did with the idea of adventure. So I looked at all of the lists that were playing into adventure and went, what do all these things share? And there were three. First of all was doing things for the first time. Of course, that's almost the definition of COVID. And I think it's one of the reasons I've been able to keep relatively sane, because I have this lens of, well, this is an adventure to almost everything that is kind of slapped my way. The other thing, another example, is last week my daughter, who's an engineer, was showing us a makey that she does with school-aged children to teach them STEM. And I'm going, well, I've never tried this before. It was really cool, almost hilarious, with my husband and I trying this for the first time. Paddleboarding across the lake, fantastic, first time. Making my first sourdough focaccia, not particularly high on the rise, but I was still proud of it. It was a first. And of course, trying Wisdom Wednesdays out, that's like a first for me and kind of a new adventure every week. The second characteristic of the theme, it was doing things outside of the norm. And for me, I think what I've been really enjoying is riding my Vespa along country roads. And what's neat is meeting these bigger guys on the bigger hogs that are kind of taking a day trip too, or maybe a weekend trip. They'll come over to my Vespa, they'll comment on it, I'll comment on their bike, we have this great chat for 15 or 20 minutes while we're waiting in line for something, and I absolutely love it. People that I would normally not be able to talk to on an everyday basis. And the last one is having these personal experiences in different cultures. So, last March, I was in India for almost a month. Can't do that this year, that kind of a trip. So I'm starting something called cultural kitchen parties, and that's where people from different cultures cook along with a group of us and talk about the traditions of their culture and what it's like in living in Canada and or in Toronto, and really sharing their perspectives with us so we can get kind of virtually up close and personal and understand a little bit more about what they are facing and even how we might help or what we might learn for our application for our own lives. So those are my three components of adventure, and I hope that this has been somewhat inspiring maybe for your own list in terms of what your themes are and what the characteristics are within those themes, so that every day is as great as it can be and that you find you're happy no matter what external circumstances you're faced with.